Feeling stuck in a cycle of distractions? Wondering why your hard work isn't translating into real success? The secret isn't working harder, it's working smarter with deep focus. Deep work is your ticket to transforming not just your productivity, but your entire life. Hi everyone, my name is James.
And I'm Olivia.
Today we're diving into the ultimate success hack, deep work. This simple but powerful practice is the key to mastering new skills, achieving financial and time freedom, and creating irreplaceable value in your life.
Whether you're looking to excel in your career, build a thriving side hustle, or start your entrepreneurial journey, the ability to focus deeply will set you apart. And trust us, the results are life-changing.
Stick around because we're sharing a practical 4-step system to integrate deep work into your daily life, along with real-life examples that prove it works.
Let's get started and unlock the power of deep work.
Welcome to our deep dive, and today we're going to be looking at deep work.
Yeah.
And we're going to be exploring how you can really kind of harness the power of intense distraction-free focus to really kind of elevate your results both personally and professionally.
Yeah, I think it's such a relevant topic right now because, we're constantly being bombarded with distractions and this idea of deep work, it's almost like a countercultural movement.
Totally, yeah. And so you've provided us with a guide all about this, and I'm joined by an expert today to really help us go through it. So
welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
we're going to try to figure out how can you use these insights to create real change in your life.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Is to move beyond just the theory and actually implement this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, What I found really interesting is how this guide connects deep work to all these different types of freedoms. So think like financial independence or having more time or even being able to work from wherever you want. It's like deep work is the key to unlocking all these different possibilities.
Absolutely. And the source material actually, it highlights 3 distinct paths where deep work plays a really crucial role. And that's the career path, the side hustle path, and the entrepreneurship path.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Can you explain the core concept of deep work and why it's so valuable in today's world, which, let's be honest, is full of distractions?
Deep work is about intense, focused concentration on these cognitively demanding tasks. And it's about pushing your mental abilities to the limit, which actually, as the guide points out, strengthens your capacity for focus over time.
So it's kind of like a mental workout then.
It is.
The more you train your brain to focus deeply, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And think about it in a world where distractions are constantly vying for our attention.
Yeah.
This ability to focus deeply, it becomes a superpower.
Right.
It's what allows you to produce high-quality work to solve those complex problems and to create things that truly stand out.
So the guide uses the term irreplaceable value, right? Can you explain what that means in the context of deep work?
Yeah, irreplaceable value. It refers to those unique skills and expertise that you develop through deep work.
Okay.
It's about becoming so good at what you do that you're essentially indispensable. And this could be anything from, writing compelling code to creating stunning visual designs or, crafting these captivating marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
It's really about developing that expertise.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's not just about being busy, but focusing your energy on things that create real lasting value.
Precisely. And the guide provides some really compelling examples. Take someone like Tim Cook, who's mentioned in the career path section, through years of focused effort and dedication. He climbed the ranks to become the CEO of Apple.
Oh, yeah.
It's a classic example of how consistent deep work can lead to remarkable career progression.
Okay, so deep work can help you excel in like a traditional career path.
Yeah.
What are those other paths, the side hustle path and the entrepreneurship path?
Deep work is equally crucial for those paths. And the guide actually talks about how freelancers, creators, online sellers, those pursuing a side hustle, they rely on deep work to produce high-quality products and services. It's how they carve out time amidst their busy schedules to build something truly remarkable.
Right. And I imagine for entrepreneurs, it's essential for navigating all those challenges of starting and growing a business.
Absolutely. The guide emphasizes how entrepreneurs leverage deep work to develop those innovative products, to refine their business strategies, and ultimately to thrive in a competitive market.
So whether you're trying to climb that corporate ladder, launch a side hustle, or build a business from the ground up, deep work seems to be that common thread that runs through all these paths.
Exactly. And that's what makes this guide so valuable.
Yeah.
It provides this framework for understanding how deep work can be applied across different contexts to achieve a variety of goals.
And that's where the 4-step deep work system comes in, right? So the guide outlines this really practical approach to actually implementing deep work into your life.
Yes, and this system is designed to help you make deep work a sustainable habit rather than just a one-off burst of productivity.
Yeah. Okay, I'm very curious to unpack these steps. So the first one is define your focus.
Okay.
Sounds pretty straightforward, but I feel like there's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah.
What does it really mean to define your focus in this context?
Defining your focus is about identifying those tasks that truly move the needle towards your goals.
Okay.
It's about being ruthlessly selective with your time and energy, cutting through the noise of everyday distractions and busyness.
Right. And I think a lot of us struggle with that, feeling constantly busy, but not necessarily productive. How does this step help us kind of overcome that challenge?
The key is to align your deep work sessions with your overarching goals.
Okay.
You need to be crystal clear about what you're trying to achieve and then prioritize those tasks that directly contribute to those outcomes.
Can you give an example of what that looks like in practice?
Sure. Let's say your goal is to write a book.
Okay.
Defining your focus would mean dedicating your deep work sessions to actually writing.
Right.
Not getting bogged down in endless research or outlining those activities might be important, but they shouldn't be the primary focus of your deep work time.
That's a great example. Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of getting lost in the pre-work instead of actually doing the work.
Yeah,
It's like procrastination disguised as productivity.
exactly. And this step helps you avoid that trap.
Okay.
It's about being intentional with your time and energy.
So we've defined our focus. What's the next step in the system?
The next step is perhaps the most challenging, but also the most crucial: eliminate distractions.
And you're not kidding about the challenge.
Mhm.
I mean, in today's hyper-connected world, distractions are everywhere. How can we possibly eliminate them all?
It's not about eliminating every distraction. It's about minimizing the ones you can control
Okay.
and creating an environment that's conducive to deep work. The guide offers some really practical strategies for doing this.
Like, what? Give us some examples. I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear how they can actually put this into practice.
Absolutely. Think about your physical workspace. Can you create a distraction-free zone? Maybe that means turning off notifications on your phone and computer, silencing all alerts, or even using website blockers to prevent yourself from mindlessly browsing the internet.
Those are some great tips.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much those little notifications can just completely derail our focus.
It's true. They're designed to grab our attention.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly effective at doing so. But during deep work sessions, those little pings and buzzes can be incredibly disruptive.
The guide also talks about setting boundaries with people, right?
Yes, it's about communicating your need for uninterrupted time to those around you. This could involve letting your family know that you need a certain block of time to focus on work, or setting clear expectations with colleagues about when you're available and when you're not.
I think that's a crucial point. It's not just about managing external distractions. It's also about managing our social interactions and setting boundaries that protect our deep work time.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of respect for focused work, both for ourselves and for others.
This is all starting to make a lot of sense. So by defining our focus and eliminating distractions, we're essentially setting the stage for deep work to flourish.
Precisely. And that brings us to the third step in the system: set clear goals.
Okay, this seems pretty straightforward. We all set goals.
Right.
But I'm guessing there's a specific way to set goals that makes them particularly effective for deep work.
The guide emphasizes the importance of breaking down large, complex goals into smaller, more manageable tasks
Okay.
with specific deadlines.
Right.
It's about creating a roadmap for your deep work sessions, ensuring that each session has a clear objective and contributes to a larger outcome.
So instead of saying, I'm going to launch a business, you might set a goal like, I'm going to validate my business idea by interviewing 10 potential customers this week.
Exactly. That's a much more actionable goal.
Yeah.
And it's something you can realistically achieve during a dedicated deep work session. The guide provides a helpful analogy. It's like climbing a mountain.
Okay.
You wouldn't just look at the summit and start climbing haphazardly. You'd break the climb down into smaller stages with base camps and checkpoints along the way.
That's a great analogy. Breaking down goals into smaller chunks makes them seem less daunting and more achievable.
Exactly. And it provides a sense of momentum and progress,
Yeah.
which is essential for staying motivated, especially when you're tackling those challenging tasks that require deep focus.
Okay, we're 3 steps into the system. We've defined our focus, eliminated distractions, and set clear goals. What's that final piece of the puzzle?
The final step is schedule deep work sessions. This is where you take all the previous steps and put them into action.
So it's not enough to just know about deep work and its benefits. We have to actually carve out the time in our schedules and commit to those deep work sessions.
Exactly. The guide recommends blocking out specific time in your day, ideally 1 to 2 hours dedicated solely to deep work.
Wow.
And the key here is treating these sessions as non-negotiable appointments, just like you wouldn't skip an important meeting or doctor's appointment.
Right.
You don't reschedule your deep work time unless absolutely necessary.
I love that analogy. It really emphasizes the importance of prioritizing deep work.
Yes.
It's not something we squeeze into our spare time. It's something we intentionally make space for.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that by consistently scheduling and adhering to these sessions, you're actually training your brain to enter that state of deep focus more easily over time. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice deep work, the better you become at it.
This all makes sense in theory, but I'm curious to hear some real-life examples of how this system actually works. Can you share some of the examples from the guide that illustrate the power of this 4-step deep work system?
Absolutely. The guide offers a few compelling examples that highlight how this system can be applied across different contexts to achieve remarkable results. One example focuses on someone who wants to learn a new skill, like 3D modeling.
Okay, that's a great example.
Mhm.
A lot of people are interested in learning new skills, whether for personal growth or professional development. How does deep work come into play in this scenario?
The example in the guide describes a designer who commits to 90 minutes of deep work each day.
Okay.
Specifically practicing 3D modeling, they set aside this time, eliminate distractions, and focus solely on honing their skills over a few months. They make significant progress, eventually reaching a level where they can consider freelancing or even a career change.
That's incredible, and it all boils down to consistent, focused effort.
Exactly. It's a testament to the power of deep work. It's not about finding huge chunks of time. It's about making the most of the time you have and committing to focused practice.
The guide also includes an example of a content creator, right?
Yes, this example highlights how a content creator uses deep work to consistently write scripts, edit videos, and produce high-quality content.
Okay.
This dedicated effort allows them to build a loyal audience, gain traction online, and eventually generate income from their work. It's another example of how deep work can lead to tangible results.
And of course, the guide also includes an example related to career progression.
Absolutely. In this example, an employee uses deep work to tackle high-value problems for their company.
Okay.
They might dedicate deep work sessions to developing a new strategy, streamlining a process, or coming up with innovative solutions. This consistent delivery of high-impact results makes them an invaluable asset to the company, ultimately leading to promotions and career advancement.
I love how these examples showcase the versatility of deep work.
Yeah.
It's not limited to specific professions or industries.
No.
It's a mindset, it's a skill set, and it's a system that can be applied to achieve a wide range of goals.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is that these examples all highlight the compounding effect of deep work.
The compounding effect. Can you explain what you mean by that?
It's similar to the concept of compound interest in finance.
Okay.
The more you invest in deep work, the bigger the returns you'll see. Over time, your initial efforts might seem small. But as you consistently practice deep work, those efforts build upon each other, leading to exponential growth and remarkable results.
That's such a powerful concept. It's like planting a seed and watching it grow into a mighty oak tree.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that anyone can do it. Deep work is a choice. It's not limited by your job title, your background, or even your natural talent. It's about making the conscious decision to prioritize deep work and reaping the extraordinary benefits it offers.
I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dives. We've explored the core concept of deep work, its benefits, and the 4-step system outlined in the guide. But before we move on, I want to make sure our listener is following along.
Of course.
What stands out to you from this discussion so far? What are your initial impressions of this deep work system?
For me, what's really resonating is the idea that deep work is a skill that can be developed and a habit that can be cultivated. It's not about being some kind of productivity superhero. It's about making small, consistent efforts over time.
That's such a crucial point. It's about making deep work a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Yeah,
just like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast.
exactly.
It's about integrating it into your life in a way that feels sustainable and enjoyable.
Absolutely. And I think the guide does a great job of breaking down the process into manageable steps that anyone can follow.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll continue to explore in the next part of our deep dive. We'll delve deeper into the practical applications of this system, the potential challenges you might encounter, and strategies for overcoming those challenges. So stay tuned
Yeah, it's going to be good.
for the next part of our deep dive, where we'll continue to explore the transformative power of deep work.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of deep work. I'm excited to continue this exploration with you and see how these concepts can be applied to your specific goals and aspirations.
Me too. In the last part, we laid the groundwork, understanding what deep work is and why it's so valuable. We also started unpacking that 4-step system from the guide. Define your focus, eliminate distractions, set clear goals, and schedule deep work sessions.
Exactly. And now I'm eager to dive deeper into those practical applications and address any questions you might have about implementing the system into your own life.
Perfect. You know, when we were talking about eliminating distractions, I was thinking about my own workspace.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a haven of peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I've got kids, pets, and a partner who all seem to think my work time is actually family hangout time.
Yeah.
How can I possibly create a distraction-free zone in that environment?
That's a really relatable challenge, and the guide actually addresses this, emphasizing that you don't need a perfectly silent monastic retreat to do deep work. It's more about being strategic and creative with your environment.
So what are some strategies I could use?
Well, first, communication is key. Have an open conversation with your family about your need for focused work time. Explain that while you love spending time with them, you also need these dedicated periods to concentrate on your work. Maybe you can agree on specific do not disturb times or create visual cues like a sign on your door to signal when you're in deep work mode.
That's a good point. Setting those expectations can make a big difference. What about the physical space itself? Any tips for making it more conducive to deep work?
Absolutely. Even small changes can have a big impact. Could you designate a specific area as your workspace, even if it's just a corner of a room? Having a dedicated space helps signal to your brain that it's time to focus.
I could definitely try that. What about all the digital distractions? I feel like I'm constantly bombarded with notifications and emails.
Ah, yes. The Digital Deluge, the guide, offers several practical tips for managing digital distractions. Turning off notifications is crucial silence. Your phone disable email alerts, and consider using website blockers to prevent yourself from getting sucked into social media or news websites.
I've tried website blockers before, but I always end up disabling them. Any advice for making them more effective?
Accountability can be really helpful. Share your deep work goals with a friend or colleague and ask them to check in on your progress. Knowing that someone else is aware of your commitment can make you more likely to stick to it.
That's a clever idea. I'm definitely going to try that. What about those times when you just can't seem to focus, even with all the right strategies in place?
That's completely normal. Our brains aren't wired to focus for hours on end without breaks. The guide recommends incorporating short breaks into your deep work sessions. The Pomodoro technique is a popular method that involves alternating between 25-minute blocks of focus work and 5-minute breaks.
I've heard of the Pomodoro technique. Does the guide recommend any specific strategies for those breaks?
The key is to engage in activities that allow your mind to rest and recharge without completely derailing your focus. Getting up and moving around, stretching, stepping outside for some fresh air, or even just closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths can all be helpful.
Those are great suggestions. I think a lot of people, myself included, tend to power through work without taking breaks. But it sounds like those breaks are actually crucial for maintaining focus and preventing burnout.
Absolutely. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about eliminating distractions, but what about those times when distractions are unavoidable? Like, what if I have a job where I'm constantly interrupted by emails, phone calls, and colleagues dropping by?
That's a common challenge, and the guide acknowledges that not everyone has the luxury of creating a perfectly distraction-free environment, but it also emphasizes that even in these situations, there are still strategies you can use to cultivate deep work habits.
I'm really curious to hear how this system can be adapted to those more challenging work environments.
One strategy is to be proactive about carving out dedicated deep work time, even if it's just for shorter periods. Could you block off an hour or two early in the morning or late in the evening when you're less likely to be interrupted? Or could you schedule dedicated focus days once or twice a week where you minimize meetings and commitments to allow for longer stretches of deep work?
Those are some really practical suggestions. It's about being intentional and making the most of the time you have, even if it's not ideal.
Exactly. Another strategy is to communicate your need for focused work time to your colleagues and supervisors. Explain that you're more productive and effective when you have dedicated periods of uninterrupted time.
Do you think most workplaces are receptive to that kind of request?
It depends on the workplace culture, of course, but I think more and more organizations are recognizing the value of deep work and creating environments that support it.
That's encouraging to hear. It sounds like deep work isn't just a personal productivity hack. It's something that can benefit entire teams and organizations.
Absolutely. And that's something we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive.
I'm looking forward to it. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already,
Yeah.
but I know there's still so much more to uncover.
There is, but before we move on, is there anything else that's standing out to you from this discussion so far? Any specific insights or strategies that you're finding particularly helpful or intriguing?
You know what's really striking me is how much of this system is about mindset. It's
Yeah.
not just about techniques and strategies. It's about shifting our perspective on work and productivity. It's about recognizing the value of deep focus and making a conscious choice to prioritize it.
That's a really insightful observation. It's about recognizing that deep work is an investment, not just in our work, but in ourselves. It's about cultivating a deeper connection to our work and experiencing the satisfaction that comes from producing something truly meaningful.
I love that. And I think that's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the deeper implications of deep work and how it could transform not just our work, but our lives. Welcome back to our deep dive into deep work. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from understanding that core concept to exploring the practicalities of implementing a deep work system into our lives.
Exactly. And now I'm kind of excited to shift our focus to the more profound implications of deep work, like how it can transform not just our work, but our overall well-being and sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, one thing that really stuck with me from the previous parts is that idea that deep work is about creating irreplaceable value. But I think it goes beyond just our professional lives, right?
Absolutely. The beauty of deep work is that it transcends those professional boundaries. You know, it's about cultivating a deeper connection with ourselves, with our passions, and with our purpose.
I'm curious to hear more about that. How does deep work foster that deeper connection?
Well, when we engage in deep work, we're fully present in the moment. We're not distracted by external stimuli or that internal chatter. You know, we're completely absorbed in the task at hand. And that state of flow, as the guy describes it, can be incredibly rewarding and fulfilling.
So it's not just about getting things done. It's about the experience of actually doing the work itself.
Precisely. The guide emphasizes that deep work allows us to tap into our intrinsic motivation, that inner drive that compels us to create, to learn, and to grow. It's about finding joy in the process, not just the outcome.
I think a lot of people struggle with that, especially in today's fast-paced world, where the focus is often on productivity and efficiency. Like, we're constantly being bombarded with messages telling us to do more, achieve more, be more. It's easy to lose sight of the intrinsic rewards of simply doing the work.
That's so true, and that's where deep work offers this powerful antidote. It's about reclaiming our time and attention and directing them toward activities that align with our values and passions.
I love that it's about taking back control of our lives and making conscious choices about how we spend our time and energy.
Exactly, and the guide highlights a really interesting connection between deep work and this concept of freedom.
Oh, right. We touched on this earlier. The 3 paths to freedom: the career path, the side hustle path, and the entrepreneurship path.
Yes, but I think it goes beyond just professional freedom. You know, deep work cultivates the sense of inner freedom, the freedom from distractions, from external pressures, from that constant need to prove ourselves. You know, it allows us to focus on what truly matters to us and to live a more intentional and fulfilling life.
That's such a profound insight. It's like deep work liberates us from the tyranny of the urgent and allows us to connect with what's truly important.
Exactly. And that sense of inner freedom can have a ripple effect on all areas of our lives. You know, it can improve our relationships, enhance our creativity, and even deepen our sense of purpose.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as focused concentration can have such transformative impact.
It really is. And the best part is that it's a skill that anyone can develop. You know, it's not about having some innate talent or superhuman willpower. It's about making that conscious choice to prioritize deep work and cultivate the habits that support it.
I think that's a really empowering message.
Mhm.
You know, it means that we all have the potential to experience those transformative benefits of deep work.
Absolutely. And I hope this deep dive has provided you with the insights and inspiration you need to kind of embark on your own deep work journey.
Me too. But before we wrap things up, is there anything else from the guide that you'd like to highlight, or any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listener?
You know what I find most inspiring about this guide is its emphasis on the compounding effect of deep work. It reminds us that even small, consistent efforts can lead to remarkable results over time.
Yeah.
It's like planting a seed and nurturing it with patience and dedication. Eventually, that seed will grow into something strong and beautiful.
That's such a beautiful analogy, and it's a reminder that deep work is not a quick fix or a magic bullet. It's a long-term investment in ourselves and our potential.
Exactly, and the rewards are well worth the effort. So as we conclude this deep dive, I encourage you to consider what is one small step you can take today to incorporate deep work into your life. It could be as simple as setting aside 15 minutes for focused reading or silencing notifications during a work session. Start small, be consistent, and watch as the transformative power of deep work unfolds.
That's a perfect call to action.
Yeah.
Remember, deep work is a choice, and it's a choice that can profoundly change your life. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, keep diving deep.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content.